Welcome to another NXT review with me, Mr. Parkin, on behalf of the British Fist. The link to this show will, of course, be linked in the description box below. I highly recommend you watch this show and the coming couple of weeks of shows, as I'm hearing them shows are pretty damn good. This week's show was a pretty good show as well, in my opinion. Some very good stuff happened on this show. So I definitely recommend you go out of your way to go watch this episode and the next few episodes of NXT as well, which I'm hearing are very good from reports on the tapings. Also got to say, one of the main reasons this show was really good and probably better than it maybe should have been was because of the NXT crowd. It was fantastic for this episode. When a crowd is good, generally it makes the show feel so much better because of it. Please leave me your thoughts and comments on anything I talk about in this review, or just your thoughts on the NXT product or show down in the comment section below. And let's get on to the opener. So we opened up this week's edition of NXT in the best way possible. Enzo Amore, a live mic, cutting a promo with their new catchphrase, SAWFT, soft. I don't know really what's that supposed to mean, but Enzo Amore on the mic is gold and was a fantastic way to start off this NXT edition. And the crowd were actually really into that promo segment as well. They actually started chanting that in some later segments on the show, so it's kind of like become the new what chant on NXT straight away, and this is the first week it's been used. It's unfortunate that Tons of Funk and Mason Ryan had to come out and ruin the fun, but I guess that's what happens when you're big man baby faces in WWE. You generally get the chance to go over, you know, and guys like Enzo Amore, who are very, very good on the mic. Tons of Funk pretty much squashed Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. It wasn't really a match. The interesting part of this segment actually was the fact that you had Mason Ryan actually dancing in the ring. His dancing really wasn't all that good, but they seemed to get a decent reaction from having big guys doing dance moves. So all I can say is, although Mason Ryan may not be liked by a lot of you guys, why the hell not? The guy needs to get some kind of personality, and it kind of worked with Rob Terry in TNA, so why not try things like these with Mason Ryan? At least they're trying to give him some kind of personality or some reason for people to react to him, other than the fact that he's a big guy that can do big moves and power moves and slam people and kill people, etc. So we had a backstage segment with Emma and Summer Rae, and it looks like we're going to be getting some kind of dance contest next week between Summer Rae and Emma, and this should be a #1 contendership match in my opinion. This next week is going to be such an awesome segment between Emma and Summer Rae, and we will see who the better dancer is. Is it silly dancing for Emma, or is it ballroom dancing for Summer Rae? You guys decide in the comment section below. I'm going for Emma. I really do root for Emma, and she has an awesome dance in my opinion, which I cannot pull off whatsoever. So after that Divas backstage segment, we had Charlotte versus Sasha Banks. Of course, Charlotte debuted a couple of weeks ago. She's the daughter of Ric Flair, and I must admit, the crowd really wasn't into this match at first, but as soon as Charlotte started introducing her gymnastics, the crowd really was on their feet and they reacted quite well to the match. I think using gymnastics into wrestling as like some sort of combination is a very unique and good way to showcase someone like Charlotte and make her stand out from the other divas. I mean, what other divas do you know that pretty much use gymnastics as their finisher or gymnastics in their wrestling repertoire? So I think the gymnastics is a great way to showcase Charlotte. And even though I didn't overly care about this match, it's still interesting to see what new stuff they're going to come out with Charlotte. And are they going to be doing stuff with her similar to her dad? Is she going to be, she's doing the chops, she's getting some woo chants. Are they going to just basically model her around her dad? Or is she going to try and be like her own character? There's only one word to describe the face on the front of this phone. Gorgeous? No. Beautiful? No. Magnificent? Not nearly there. Fantastically, beautifully magnificent. I think I've summed up myself right there in that phone. And by the way, that's a black screen on my phone, so I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about Tyler Breeze for a minute here. This new character that debuted last week on NXT. They had a backstage segment with Tyler Breeze. You know, Mike Dalton is playing this part really well. If nothing else, if you don't like the character, you have to admit that this guy is playing the part very well and all the nuances are really working. And I thought it was kind of funny that while Tyler Breeze was just like ignoring Renee Young and looking at himself in the phone and saying about how beautiful he was and how great his in-ring debut is, that you had, I think it was CJ Parker camera bombing and just doing random shit in the background. I don't know about you, but I kind of thought that was funny. And the little catchphrase at the end when you had Renee Young holding the mic with two hands saying, Tyler Breeze has left the building. I just thought that this was a really funny, entertaining backstage segment, in my opinion. Even though I don't really care about CJ Parker, I still felt what he did was quite funny, personally. So we had the Wyatt family debut their Raw entrance on NXT. They built up to this pretty well, actually. They had a video package leading up to this, then they had the entrance. I like the way they build up to the Wyatt family entrance as if it means a lot. And the Wyatt family got a really, really big pop with that NXT crowd. The NXT crowd reacted to pretty much everything throughout the night. You had Eric Rowan and Luke Harper squash some jobbers to another huge pop. And it kind of feels like this is the end of the Wyatt family on NXT right now. Bray Wyatt cut a really good promo, in my opinion, pretty much signifying that they're going to leave and remember them by this, etc. And it really did seem like the NXT people wanted to get behind Bray Wyatt. They didn't really want to boo Bray Wyatt. It seems like Bray Wyatt does have a lot of followers at Full Sail University, and I like the little quote he did as well, that he wants to bring down the machine, and the crowd really did react to that as well. Bring it down! Bring it down! Bring it down! Again, I thought the crowd really helped this segment, and I really do hope the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, who is Brody Lee, of course, and Eric Rowan, especially Bray Wyatt, go all the way in WWE as they're now going to leave NXT. And all I can say now is to Bray Wyatt and the rest of the followers up there, follow the buzzards. It's not very often I don't care about matches on NXT. Raw and SmackDown, yeah, maybe. That happens a couple of times, maybe. But Scott Dawson versus Corey Graves, I didn't really care about this match. To be honest, I can't even remember who won because I skipped through it because all I wanted to see was the post-match segment, which involved the Shield. You know, after the match, the Shield came out to a pretty damn good pop. They're kind of like a special attraction on NXT when they can be used. And it looks like they're hyping up to Dean Ambrose versus Adrian Neville for the US Championship next week, which should be a damn good match. I mean, they had a promo segment. I think Adrian Neville held himself on the mic quite well, although, of course, Dean Ambrose was fantastic on the mic, as he usually is. And I think Adrian Neville really does need to work on his mic skills and his deliverance and his personality. And in order to do that, the only way they're going to do that is really involve him in more spots like this, where he's going to be talking on the mic, where he's going to be highlighting a feud, where he's going to be talking about his opponent and himself, etc. So I felt this was another good segment. I mean, you've got the Shield in there, you've got Adrian Neville in there, who is a kind of a star on NXT right now. The promo, the back and forth was pretty decent, even though Dean Ambrose obviously carried the segment a little bit, in my opinion. But Adrian Neville held his own, and I felt this was a very good post-match segment, even though I really, really didn't care about the match between Scott Dawson and Corey Graves. I don't care about really either of those two guys, to be honest with you. You know, one thing I liked about this show was the fact they've had a video package highlighting what's going to happen next week. I mean, it's not very often you really have that on WWE shows, but next week is looking like a killer show. It really is. You've got Emma and Summer Rae in a dance-off, which at least should be entertaining. You have Bo Dallas and Leo Kruger in an NXT Championship match, which should at least be a good match. You have Dean Ambrose versus Adrian Neville next week for the US Championship, which, again, should be a damn good match. So next week, I'm expecting the crowd to be hot. I'm expecting the show to be brilliant. And I'm expecting the reviews to be high. So in our main event of the evening, we had NXT champion Bo Dallas and crowd favourite Sami Zayn versus We the People, Antonio Cesaro, and Tata Leo Kruger, the South African himself. I've been wondering when they were going to combine these two feuds to make a main event style tag match. And, you know, they did it on this week's show. I mean, they've got Bo Dallas and Kruger to hype up to next week. Zayn and Cesaro will be done at some point down the line in a 2 out of 3 falls match, so I've heard. So it's combining two feuds and forwarding them on in a nice, simple, effective way. I just find it so funny whenever Bo Dallas is on screen that the crowd just seem to hate this guy with a passion. They chant their hatred for Bo Dallas at the top of their voice. They will cheer for the heel just because they hate Bo Dallas. And while that is funny and while that does help the match and in my opinion made this match very entertaining, just much like the John Cena situation, if you don't like Bo Dallas, much like if you don't like John Cena, don't hate the guy because WWE are just going to use that to their advantage and he's getting a reaction. He's getting a reaction. Let's push this guy. If you really hate Bo Dallas and you don't want to see him do well in the WWE, then don't react. It's very simple. Just don't react. If you don't react, then the WWE will think, well, this guy is getting a reaction, so what's the point in trotting him out there? So if you don't like Bo Dallas and you're at Full Sail University and you see him on the screen, don't chant "No Go Bo" or whatever the hell they chant. Just don't react to him. It's very simple. Anyway, on to this match. I thought this was a pretty good main event match. It helped a lot by the crowd, in all honesty. And I like the way it ended as well. You had Sami Zayn and Antonio Cesaro fight up the ramp in preparation for their, you know, match which is going to end their feud at some point down the line. And you have Leo Kruger, the #1 contender, get a win on Bo Dallas to a massive pop by the crowd because the crowd just hate Bo Dallas. I must admit, it does make the shows more interesting when the crowd are hating the top babyface who's the fucking NXT champion. So Leo Kruger, the #1 contender, got the win over Bo Dallas and ended the show by saying, "Ta-ta." Overall, I thought this show was really good. I'm not going to lie. It seems like in the next couple of weeks, NXT is going to be really good, and I'm really liking the direction they're going in. And a lot of the segments they did on this show did a really good job to hype up future stuff. I mean, you've got The Shield in there with Adrian Neville. That should be pretty interesting. You know, Sami Zayn and Antonio Cesaro is another great feud. Kruger and Bo Dallas should at least be a semi-decent NXT Championship match. You've got some good stuff going on with the Divas. There's just, after a bit of a barren patch lately, and in my opinion on NXT, it looks like NXT are really ramping it up and they're trying to bring in guys like Cesaro and The Shield and tons of funk and people like that to try and make the show that little bit better and that little bit more special every now and then. So this NXT show is really good. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what NXT is going to give me over these next few weeks. And I think you guys definitely should too. Leave me your thoughts on this show down in the comment section below. Of course, link to the show will be down in the description box as always. Thank you very much for watching this video if you have. I, of course, have been Mr. Parkin with this NXT review saying thank you very much for watching and ta-ta.